The learner cohort I want to reflect on is the same learner cohort that I developed a curriculum unit for EML 513. It's a group of 12 students, 5 girls and 7 boys. They are children of recently arrived immigrants from South Korea, and they're moving into a mainstream Year 10 class in a New South Wales city school. They have had up until now a mainstream Korean education, which means from Year 3, when they're 8 or 9, they've had English language lessons, which means by the time they're 15 or 16, as they are now, they've had about 7 years of English as a foreign language in the Korean classroom. Now, the Korean curriculum focuses very much on structural elements of language, on vocab and grammar. So whilst the students have some declarative knowledge of language features, they haven't had much practice in speaking. So whilst they've moved into a Year 10 mainstream class in New South Wales, they do need support in developing their productive skill of speaking, particularly sustained coherent speech. The reason I've decided to reflect on identity is because identity is a central organising construct of human action. These children have had 15 years of enculturation in their Korean communities, and they have developed and are developing ways of being and doing, how they relate to the world they're in, who they are. And this move to a new culture and a new language can be quite disruptive to their familiar ways of being and doing. So what I'd like to do is to connect their past sense of self, their past experiences of success into the new classroom as a mediating experience, a mediating feature. I also want to connect their sense of self through imagination to future communities, so they can imagine future identities that they aspire to. The reason I want to do this is as a motivating device for the students. The other reason I'm looking at identity is because of one of my mantras, which is the difference construes the possibility of change, and therefore difference is a valuable resource in a classroom. I want to value the habitus of these new arrivals so that they can contribute to the complex and dynamic classroom. They can be part of the multifaceted classroom, multilingual, multicultural, multimodal, multiliterate. I think Brooke called it a noisy discourse from which language is emergent. So that's the cohort makeup, and that's the focus I want to look at, identity. Let's see what connections we can find.